Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brad Wentz. I wanted to do a quick video here for you to talk about how we can enter in our emergency projects such as flooding into GRIT and then have that data show up on your web maps on your county website. It's really a pretty simple process and doesn't take very long. So I'm gonna just go through that a little bit in GRIT and show you the results of that. I know right now the warmer weather is coming up and hopefully you don't see a lot of that, but it sounds like there's pretty good prospect this year for some flooding up and down the valley and across North Dakota. So it would be nice to be able to get that information into a web map that everybody can look at and see where the floodings are occurring on your county roads. So I'm going to show my screen here. I'm in the homepage for GRIT, and we're going to just go into the GRIT editor here. You can see I had done some presentations in this in the past that you could look back at, but this is just going to be a real quick overview of it. So in GRIT editor, I'm already logged into Cass County, which is one where we probably will see some flooding happening. So to enter in a flooding project, we have our layers again, our 4 layers that we have, and we put these emergency projects just like any other construction project in the construction planning layer. So I'm going to turn that on. You can see there's a few projects entered in here per Cass County. We have some background layers so we can turn on just to kind of see what's going on. So I'll turn on construction planning and I'll turn on current year construction public impacts. So there's a little legend up here and it'll show where those projects are. And we're gonna go ahead and zoom in here and enter in a project. This isn't specific to where any flooding is actually occurring, but I'm gonna just put one in here. We're gonna zoom in here. We can turn on the aerial photos and see a little bit better detail. This is the river coming through here, so chances are there may be some flooding along here. So we're going to enter in a quick project there. So we just hit the new button, put in our start location, our end location, and drag that to wherever the flooding's blocking the road, and drop a pin there, and do the same for the end of that. And we're going to actually go around and down this bridge to see if there's possibly some flooding there. So this all can be in one project. And we're just going to drop a pin there. And that draws in where the flooding's happening. And we have project info for this. We have type of our regular construction surfacing overlay, but there's one down on the bottom called emergency projects. When we pick that, we get an emergency type, and there we can select from some values that we have in here. There's one for flooding, structural failure, snow, other things. There's another one for site impact location, and this would be if you want to show exactly where the flooding's occurring on the road. But we're going to just pick flooding for this one, and shows where the road is going to be closed. So another important item is just put in the year that this is happening. So 2023 project status on this is just going to be under construction. So we want to show that this is actively flooding and road closed. So we're going to say that's under construction. Put in the status date when you entered this in. Other information, it's more for construction, so not really for the flooding, so you wouldn't have to enter any of this in. Probably put in the owner, which is going to be county. And then we have project public impacts that are happening with that, where you can put the actual start of it, of the flooding, the actual end of the flooding, and then we want a public impact. So in this case, more than likely the road's closed, but you could have detour in place or reduce speeds or other things. So just going to put in road closed, and if there's any width restrictions, detour length, you don't really need to enter any of that in for this. And then there's the comments where you could comment about what the flooding is or what's happening there. And that's really it. There's financing information. Again, that's for the construction projects in your 5-year plan, but we have added a detour. So if you want, you can enter in a start and an end location, and then you probably have to enter some waypoints, and that'll show up. It'll draw a detour in, say if you have one going around here. I'm not going to do that right now, but that's an option for you. So once you have that in, we just hit save on it, and that is now saved to Grit, and it will show up in our web maps. And then on your public web page. So I'm going to jump over to our web map, and let's refresh this map here. So now this is, this could be a link off of your public web page, or it can be in other places that if somebody is questioning where you got flooded, you could send them a link to this. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit, back and forth, but Cass County again. I'm going to turn some of the layers off. So we have current year construction projects, and I'm just going to turn those off just so you can see a little bit better. Here's the project we just entered in, and it's showing up here. If we look at the legend for this, let's go back to show the legend. You can see emergency road impacts over the top, so that's road closed, and then underneath is the drawing that it's flooding. So you got kind of a blue outline here of a red road, and then the year that's happening. So now, anytime you go back to edit this, if you change it to being the road open or this ends, you can delete it. It'll automatically be reflected here on the web map for the public to see. And other layers I have in here are some web services from the North Dakota DOT. In this case, we have their alerts that they have on their 511 map, and that would also show up on here if there was any happening right at this time. There isn't at this time, so that's not showing up here. So back in Grit, we have our project in here. Again, you could go through and enter in any flooding projects that are happening in the county. Imagine if it's system-wide flooding, like really severe flooding, and many roads are closed, maybe you're not going to do this, but I think it would be really good to enter in your county major collectors, your higher volume roads or paved roads, to get that information in here, and then available on the web maps, and hopefully we can get all the counties to get their information in, so that then we can get it to the North Dakota DOT 511 web map and send it out to different sources. So and again, as things change, you'll want to be coming back in here. This is the same for your construction projects too, to come back in and keep this information up to date. When the public impacts are changing, when it's starting and ending, and those types of details, or any notes that you want to put in. But now let's just say that it's the end of the project and by the flooding, and then it's going to go away. So you can come back in here and just delete this project. So we just look at it on it again, and we go on and select it and delete it from it. So we'll just hit the delete button. It's sure you want to delete it. So now that flooding project is now gone. And then if I go back in here and actually just refresh this web map, you'll see that it's no longer showing up on the map. So that's a good thing. Everything's kind of directly related and can immediately be updated on your web page. For this map, you can share a link to it. So there's just a link here, a share button, and you copy and paste this link into an email or to anybody, and then when they click on it, it'll show up. There's a couple of options on here. so that you can keep the current map extent. So I zoomed into Cass County, and this is what'll show up when they click on the link. There's also a remember layers visibility, so that I turned off the construction projects and turned on the public impacts, and it'll remember that when somebody clicks on this link now, it'll show just those layers that you turned on. So just a couple of options there to do. Then you can even embed this map right onto your homepage or your county webpage with this code here. Just give it to your IT person that maintains your webpage, and they insert that in there, and the flooding map would show up right on your webpage. So just a couple of tools for that. So that's it for this. Just wanted to give a quick overview on it, and I'll be sending out an email with a link to this on our webpage. And hopefully everybody will get a chance to try to stay on top of where the flooding's happening and get that entered in. So thanks for listening.